Have you ever asked yourself what would happen if entire US cities suddenly lost billions in federal funding overnight just because of who they chose to protect? Because that's the chaos Trump just unleashed with one executive order. On April 27, 2025, Donald Trump signed an executive order cutting off all non-essential federal funding to any US city designated as a sanctuary for undocumented immigrants. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and dozens more could lose billions almost instantly. Today, we're unpacking what this means for America's biggest cities, how governors and mayors are reacting, and whether this move could backfire politically or ignite something much bigger. Stay with me. And if you think federal power versus local control is a fight worth paying attention to, maybe drop it quick, like so YouTube shows this to more curious minds. Let's get into it. First, what exactly happened? Trump's new executive order demands that any city refusing full cooperation with federal immigration enforcement agencies will have all discretionary federal funds immediately suspended. That means grants for transportation, education, housing, healthcare, you name it, gone. In his announcement, Trump claimed, American cities should protect Americans, not illegal aliens. Enough is enough. Strong words, but immediately controversial. Within hours, dozens of mayors issued fiery responses. New York City Mayor Eric Adams called the executive order an attack on democracy itself, vowing to fight the cuts in court. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass declared the city would remain a sanctuary, funding or no funding. And it's not just Democratic-led cities reacting. Some Republican governors, even those typically aligned with Trump, warned that cutting off massive urban centers could backfire economically, hurting not just immigrants, but millions of legal residents who rely on federal aid for basic services. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Experts point out that sanctuary cities make up nearly 40% of America's GDP. Strangling them financially could trigger ripples across the national economy. Higher unemployment, rising homelessness, weakened infrastructure. Imagine for a second subways grinding to a halt in New York, public hospitals turning away patients in Los Angeles, school programs slashed in Chicago, all while millions of taxpayers who aren't even undocumented suffer collateral damage. And guess what? Wall Street is already nervous. Following Trump's announcement, the Dow Jones dipped slightly, with analysts citing urban instability risks in their warnings. Quick pause here. If you're finding this situation as intense and unpredictable as I am, leave a comment below. Should cities be punished for protecting undocumented immigrants, or is this executive overreach gone too far? Because this is bigger than immigration. It's about the balance of power between Washington, D.C. and local governments. It's about whether a president can or should economically punish Americans to enforce political loyalty. Civil rights groups have already filed lawsuits arguing that the order is unconstitutional, citing the 10th Amendment, which protects states' rights against federal coercion. Meanwhile, polls show the country is deeply divided. A Fox News poll found 52% of Americans support cutting funding to sanctuary cities. But a CNN survey the same day found 57% believe local governments should have the right to decide immigration policies without federal interference. Two Americas staring at each other across a widening chasm. And speaking of politics, this move could reshape the 2026 midterms. Republicans are betting that cracking down on sanctuary cities energizes their base, especially in rural and suburban areas where immigration is a top concern. Democrats, on the other hand, are preparing to frame Trump's move as punishing children and families to score political points. In fact, President Biden, during a rally in Philadelphia today, called the executive order a betrayal of American values and an assault on our communities. Big words, and you can bet more are coming. But here's the wild card. Trump's order could face immediate legal challenges that freeze it in court for months, maybe even years. Remember what happened back in 2017 with his first immigration bans? Those dragged through the courts and lost momentum. So the real question is, will this executive order actually stick? Or will it simply inflame tensions and harden political divides even further without delivering real results? Before we wrap up, Let's not forget the human side of this story. Cities like Los Angeles estimate nearly 1 in 8 residents live with at least one undocumented family member. These aren't faceless statistics. They're parents, students, neighbors. Cutting off entire cities doesn't just hurt policy, it rips at the social fabric. So where does America go from here? Will sanctuary cities stand their ground even if it means financial collapse? Will Trump's gamble pay off politically or trigger a massive legal and public backlash? And bigger than that, can the US survive another round of federal-local warfare without tearing itself apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you appreciate deep dives that don't just skim the surface, hit that like button or maybe subscribe. We've got a lot more to unpack in the weeks ahead. And trust me, things are just getting started.